So, without further ado, I'm excited to welcome Chianti Lomax, celebrating the release of her debut book, Evolving While Black, The Ultimate Guide to Happiness and Transformation on Your Own Terms, in which Lomax, a renowned life coach and chief happiness curator, shares a guide to help Black women achieve authentic happiness and liberation on their own terms. Chianti Lomax is a sought-after international speaker, certified coach, transformation strategist, certified workplace mindfulness facilitator, and positive psychology practitioner. She teaches doable habit changes to help increase our well-being and elevate the overall human experience. Lomax will be in conversation with PMP's very own Director of Marketing, Glory Edim. And if you don't already know, she's a founder of The Well-Read Black Girl, a book club and digital platform that celebrates the uniqueness of Black literature and sisterhood. And be on the lookout for her own memoir coming out in November. It's called Gather Me, a memoir in praise of the books that saved me. So without further ado, please welcome to Politics and Prose, Chianti Lomax and Glory Edim.
We can do it again. We can do another one. Loving the sneakers. I do what I can.
How are you feeling?
Good. No, I'm feeling good. It feels good to see my friends and family in the spot. What's up, y'all? I feel good.
I am so proud of you. Congratulations on writing this incredible book and being able to share so much of yourself with us. Mm-hmm. And so I want to dive right in because I feel like this book is very, very necessary. Yeah. It gives us space to think about our own liberation, how we can take care of ourselves, what mindfulness means. So I want to start with the word evolution.
Okay.
Why did you want to call this Evolving While Black? Why was that title really important for you?
Well, because personal growth has been a very present thing in my life. I'm always growing, and people that know me, that have known me for years, know that I've been a different version of Chianti so many times, and I pride myself on change. I know a lot of people stray away from change. They don't like change, but I run to change and ambiguity like it's my favorite cup of coffee. So it only made sense for me to call it Evolving While Black because I think that evolving shows that you're still alive and that you still just care about learning and living.
It's so clear that transformation and evolution of self it's so beautifully done in the book. And one thing that I really appreciated, and we talked about this a little bit in the back about how you decided to really own your voice. When I'm reading it, I feel like I'm talking to you. It feels very much in your own voice. Yeah. How were you able to be brave enough not to, try to minimize your voice or try to imitate other people, but really truly sound like yourself in this book and just as you move throughout the world?
It was really, so one of the things that I talk about throughout the book is this thing called positive psychology, right? Mm-hmm. And when I was studying positive psychology, I noticed that a lot of the people who were leading this practice or this science were old white men and white women, right? And I was like, I'm a nerd, so I love this information that I'm learning and that I want to teach, but people who look like me don't want to hear from a 70-year-old white man. They will want to hear from somebody who looks and sounds like them and makes it fun, relevant, and relatable. And so I wanted my book to feel like a conversation you having with your best friend over brunch. Yep. But she's giving you a few jewels at the same time. Right. You know what I mean? We're learning, but we're having a good conversation. Mm-hmm. So I want you to get the medicine, but I want you to have fun while you're taking it.
Yeah. And you also give so much comfort. One of my favorite quotes in the book was from a podcast that I'm going to pull up my pages. I'm going to page 14.
She got sticky notes.
I do have lots of sticky notes, but lots of quotes in this book. So there's a quote where you say, when I heard retired NFL legend and the Pivot podcast host Fred Taylor say, exposure leads to expansion, it felt like a nod to my inner child. The statement is so simple but so profound. Its essence has been a foundational pillar in how I've navigated my life. And I definitely like highlighted that so many times. I'm just like, oh, wow, like this is what you're talking about throughout the book, like expansion, evolution. Why did that quote in particular really stand out for you?
I think so. For people who don't know, I grew up in the hood, for lack of a better word, and in the projects, it's like you don't see a lot of people who look like us that are doing extraordinary things. Right. Sure, we're surviving, we're practicing resilience, we're overcoming obstacles, but what about the other part of life? Like, what does it look like to flourish and thrive? And the thing that I think set my mindset in the right direction was being exposed to people who look like me that are doing wonderful things, because I wasn't seeing it in my everyday environment. So the more I was exposed to different kinds of Black people, especially moving here to DC, I'm like, these Black people killing it. What is happening? Y'all making money too? So that literally exposure to different things helped me to think about things differently. It helped to shift my mindset and my belief systems that were placed on me, through childhood. And so I was able to just peel back a lot of the things that were keeping me stuck, because I was being exposed to so many different kind of peoples, so many different ways of living, and just the ability to say, oh, wait, so this woman looks like me, is in the White House with her husband. Like, I can do anything too. It's just like, it really opens your mind to know that you can do the things that, even though you haven't seen it, you could do it too. Even though you may not have been able to touch it before, seeing somebody who looks like you do it allows me and gives me the permission to do it myself.
Yes. And I'm glad you brought up the Obamas, because you start one of the chapters with that very scene where, you're outside.
Inauguration.
Yes, at the inauguration. Can you set the scene for folks who haven't read yet, like what it was like witnessing that, and why it was so important to like have that chapter in your book opening it?
First off, DC is cold as hell, right? So it was.
You are from Greenville.
I'm from Greenville, South Carolina.
There you go.
Hello. So I it's with a U. So I remember standing there at the Capitol building, and it felt like one of the coldest days of my life. Like, I just remember standing there. I had a twist out, and I was like, my hair is gonna be an icicle when I leave here. Like, something like a twist out is gonna break off at this point. But like, my hands were cold, my feet were cold, my toes were cold, my whole body. I couldn't feel my nose. But even though I was cold as hell, I was just standing there in awe of these Black people coming into the White House for a second term, because this was the second inauguration. And for me to be out here, as we say in the South, just being that number, you know what I'm saying? Like, I felt blessed just like to witness it. And again, it's just like that exposure to seeing us in such a high position, it just inspired me and empowers me to believe that I could do anything I want to do, even the unimaginable, like write a damn book. How they let me do that?
But they did, yes.
They did.
That. And
yeah.
It's so fantastic. It's one thing to say, like, it's impossible, or I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it. But you actually give us, like, tools and steps on how to do, like, how do I say it? Like, goal setting. Like, but you don't call it goal setting. Like, you have like a whole other terminology on how to like get it done and execute and make sure that you're like, holding yourself accountable and not leaning on other people's validation. So I'm going to go to my book.
Okay.
Let me go to the page, because there's just so many different examples.
I know what you're talking about. The intuitive goal setting. I could go there.
Intuitive goal setting. Yes.
I said, hi, Kevin. I just be seeing everybody like, look at y'all up in here. So I call it intuitive goal setting. So something that shifted for me, of course, we set SMART goals, right? Specific, measurable, whatever. But something that I wanted to do that felt more in alignment with my being and soul was setting goals based on how I wanted to feel at the end of the year. So I would look at, in the book, I talk about these different areas of well-being. So physical well-being, financial well-being, career well-being, social well-being, and then community well-being. And I look at those areas and I say, how do I want to feel in my community well-being? So during the pandemic, I felt very isolated by myself and alone. And so the goal was, or the intuitive goal setting was, I want to feel connected and I want to feel loved and supported by the end of this year. So what do I need to do?
Right.
And then I set goals based on how I want to feel. So then the goal was, I'm going to call my friends at least twice a week, because I wasn't calling nobody during the pandemic. I'm sitting there eating cookies and cream and watching TV. But I was like, I'm going to call people. I'm going to actually go outside, and maybe I don't want to sit in a house because COVID, but we're going to take a walk around Bowie. Like just different things. But the goal is to first set how I want to feel and then create goals around that and then an action plan after that.
Yeah, so it's like you're reverse engineering.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, this is how I want to feel.
Yeah.
And you give so many great examples of your own life. Like you talk about, what happened during the pandemic. You talk about the talent show when, when you were singing Candy Rain, and like you have so many like fun stories. I could just see like little,
Lil Chianti was the bomb. Yes. Do people say the bomb anymore?
We say it. Yeah.
It's lit.
So I could see all these things, and I just wanted to know, what did it feel like reminiscing and going back to these places where you were talking to your younger self?
Yeah. The story she's talking about in the book was in 5th grade, I did this talent show, and I think I'm multi-talented. I thought I was in 5th grade. And so my favorite song at the time that was like glaring on the radio station was Candy Rain by Soul For Real.
Soul For Real.
And y'all, I used to watch Video Soul all the time. And I just remember like watching the video, learning all the parts. It was like 5 brothers, wasn't it? I'm talking about I learned every single part and the dance routine to it because I was a dancer. And so I was like, I'm going to do this in the talent show. And so I literally begged my mom to buy me an outfit from Sears. Y'all remember Sears? It was this red and white flowery skirt with a white top and these patent leather black shoes that were terrible. But you couldn't tell me I wasn't fly. I was like, I'm about to be fly. So anyway, I did the talent show, and people were like, how are you going up there singing all 5 parts and doing a routine? But what that reminded me of is just how fearless little Chianti was. Like, I had so much self-efficacy, like belief in myself at that age, that I could get up there and have the audacity to sing. I can't sing, but get up there and do it anyway. But like literally that just reminds me to always believe in myself first without leaning on that outside validation. Yeah. So yeah, just reminded me of that.
You right here, what I loved most about 10-year-old Chianti was her belief of self. And like you're just echoing that now. So it's like, yeah, I can sing that Candy Rain song. Yeah, I can write the book. I can do anything that I put my mind to. And it's also like a muscle. It's like practicing that at 10 allows you to do it at 20 and at 30 and at 40 and onward. So you just like you get stronger and more confident in yourself.
It is.
Another part of the book that I really enjoyed was this idea of like really taking apart misconceptions of what mindfulness means.
Sure.
So sometimes we'll go into places and we'll think like, oh, to be mindful, I need to sit cross-style and do yoga, or I need to go to like a retreat in Bali. And it's like, no, actually mindfulness is a different kind of skill set that you can do in your everyday life. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of misconceptions about mindfulness. Like, one is like people think that mindfulness means I need to sit and turn my thoughts off. When in actuality, mindfulness is befriending your thoughts. Like if you're sitting, like think about mindfulness as like I'm sitting on a bench outside and the cars are going by and I'm watching all the cars go by, and the cars that are going by are basically your thoughts. Oh, I'm sad today. Oh, I'm upset about something. Oh, that lady pissed me off earlier. But you're just watching those cars go by. So mindfulness is really about being in the present moment and allowing your thoughts to happen, not trying to change them, not trying to control them, but being present with your thoughts and not judging them at all. So watching your thoughts go by and just allowing them to happen, not to control you, but just allowing your thoughts to happen and being present.
So as a facilitator, I know now that you've written the book, that is like easier said than done. I'm sure there's plenty of people in the audience is like, look, I'm about to chase that car, I'm about to jump up, you know.
I'm about to cuss somebody out. Don't cuss them out.
Like, I don't know. So how do you actually put that in practice, and how long did it take you to really like implement that in your own life?
Mindfulness is a muscle too. Like sometimes I have to practice it myself. Like, all right, Chianti, that's be in the present moment. Let's talk through what you're feeling. It's okay. Don't judge it. So the 3 things that I tell people when I'm teaching mindfulness is you want to approach mindfulness with a beginner's mindset. Yeah. So even if you think you a yogi, you a meditative guru, it's good to just start with a beginner's mindset. The second thing is release any judgment that something has to happen a certain way. So some days you're going to try to be mindful and some days you're not. That's the part of the human experience. It's that permission to be human. Yep. And then it's like, just don't try to stop anything from happening. Allow it to happen. So allowing yourself to feel those thoughts or to think those thoughts, allowing yourself to feel those feelings. And again, mindfulness just is about being present with yourself. It's not about trying to stop yourself from doing anything.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's also incredible to witness how you are present with other people in the book. Like again, you give examples with you and your mother, with your friends. And there's another, what I found it really emotional reading it, the experience you had when you had your surgery. You talk about a surgery that you had and how your friends and family like really rallied around you during this very vulnerable time. Can you talk about what that meant for you to just have a support system in that way and how that really influenced that chapter of the book?
Yes. Yeah. So that was a very emotional chapter. So what she's talking about is last year I had fibroid surgery. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I think that we got right, some of the stuff we're trying to like unlearn from our parents, right? We're trying to unlearn a lot of the toxic mindsets or communication styles. But what our parents and grandparents got right was this ability to be in community with each other. And so I think it's super important that we practice community because for me, where I don't have a lot of family in this area or just a big family in general, my friends stand in the gap. Yes. And so I know there's a lot of people who are transplants who move from different places that live in this area, and creating community around yourself allows you to feel supported, allows you to feel that closeness and togetherness that you need to feel to achieve goals, to go through things like that. So for me, literally, my village is what has allowed me to be the Chianti that you see here today. It's how I reach my goals. They hold me accountable. Yeah. And then when I'm in trouble, they come to my rescue. Yeah. Literally, we were on a prayer call the day before my surgery with like 15 to 20 people. How many people was on that line? Just a lot. Just praying over me before my surgery. Yeah. So it means a lot. Yeah. Don't do that.
Yeah, you got it. Yes.
I do.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. And the reason why that's important, and I wanted to share that because as human beings, we are wired for connection. Yeah. A lot of people have adopted this mindset of like no new friends, or I don't need nobody, or I got it all by myself. But that's not even how you're wired. Like science says that people need people, and that's how you live life together. So, yeah.
God. Let's take a moment. Let's all be mindful and present.
I know, I'm being mindful.
It's really beautiful to see that. Again, you have this incredible community that you've been so intentional about curating and loving upon, because it's not one-sided. You guys are both supporting and loving each other through this, through your evolutions, through the different phases and seasons of your life. Just to take it back to how this came to be, what was the moment that made you say, like, I need to have this in a book, right? Because you've been practicing as a life coach, you've done this as your career. Yeah, for sure. Where was like the pause where you're like, okay, I need to make sure that everyone understands my philosophy and my theory, and I can be able to have this be a champion for me?
Yeah, so I'll even take it a few steps before that. So in 2016, I was sitting in my positive psychology program, and I was one of the only Black people in the class. Actually, I was the only Black person in the class, Black woman in the class, and they were just talking about like healing and language and ways to describe your strengths. And then we were watching a documentary about these little Black boys who were talking to each other based on their strengths. So I love, Damon because he is curious about the world, or he cares about people. And I was like, what if we had grown up with that kind of language, right? So even if the children we can't start with children, let's start with women, being able to describe each other by our strengths and our values. And I was like, man, people that look like me really could use a lot of this information around what it means to have a growth mindset, around what it means to reverse engineer habits, around what it means to be mindful, or how gratitude really isn't just about counting your blessings, but you're rewiring your brain to think more positively every time you practice gratitude. So I was sitting in that class like, I want to teach this, but I don't want it to be dry. I don't want it to be boring. Like, this is not coming from Richard. This is coming from Chianti. So how do I make it fun and relevant? And I was like, I'm going to do an event. And this event was called the Happy Pop-Up.
Yes.
I know y'all be in it. But like the Happy Pop-Up was me taking the things I was learning in positive psychology, and it's based on this model called the PERMA model. So positivity, engagement, meaningful relationships, purpose, and then achievement. So how do I take these things, make them fun, but you're still learning like practices that you can put into your day-to-day? So I launched the event, had the event in 2016, 2017, and it was great, but it costs money to do events.
Yes, of course, yeah.
Don't it, Jasmine? It do. So I was like, how do I keep on this mission of making sure that Black people can create their own little pockets of joy, of adventure, of fun and laughter, but in a more expansive way? I was like, I know I want to put the Happy Pop-Up in somebody's pocket and pocketbook. So let's write a book, because I can touch more people in a more meaningful way more quickly. So the Evolving While Black is the Happy Pop-Up in your pocketbook, your book, and also on Audible. So y'all can get that.
Yes, I love that. That's so wonderful.
Yeah.
Because it does make sense for you to have it accessible. So you can go to your independent bookstore, you can go to, you can listen to it on audio.
Absolutely.
And it's reaching more people, and it drives more people to understand like what your mission is.
Absolutely.
Because it's like you're right. There's so many times that we can be fixated on Black pain and suffering, but we need to like change that around, right? It's like all these things can coexist together.
Yeah.
Along with joy and happiness and just like evolution.
And that's the thing. I just like one of my missions, right? I'm like, we know that Earth is ghetto. The world is in shambles. Politics is in shambles all the time.
All the time.
Racism. Hey, Alicia. Racism is going to be here, Millie rocking for a long time, right? But how do we, at the same time...
I got to say, that's the first time I heard about racism, Millie rocking.
It's Millie rocking. It be showing out. It really be showing out. And so it's like, it's going to be here. So how do we... acknowledge this is a real thing, is something that really affects our people, and at the same time create moments of joy, create moments where we can laugh out loud, because y'all know I like to laugh out loud. I call it a head back holler. Like, I really need moments to do that, So I want to make sure that we're not just focusing on survival. Like, we can also thrive in the face of those things that are trying to hold us back. We're going to thrive anyway. Black people have been surviving for a long time, but I want Black people to start thriving. And that's what this book is about.
I love that. And it also is just, we can clap. We can clap for that. It also just shows that, like, it's, it's not only about resilience. It's just so much more beyond that. Like, being able to laugh and have joy in the hardest of circumstances, that feels like a superpower in itself too. It is. Because it just that's driven on hope and joy and just like a love of self. Despite what's happening around you, you still like love yourself and grounded in yourself.
Absolutely.
I want to talk more about the different practices and just how you set up this book, because at the end of each chapter, there's these wonderful check-ins, and like you give us a lot of prompts on how to just really do this work independently. To talk us up through what's like why you decided to do that, include that in the chapters, and how you curated it.
So honestly, the book is based on my coaching style. So whenever I do coaching, especially group coaching, I always introduce a new principle, a new practice from positive psychology. And then the thing is like, we could teach about it, we could talk about it, but how do I apply it to myself? like tell me, show me, let me try.
Yeah.
That's learning and development. Y'all know if y'all, you know. But so it's like, I want to tell you about it.
Wait, I don't know about that. Say it
So
again.
it's tell me about it.
Okay, tell me about it.
Show me how to do it,
Show
and
me how
then
to
let
do
me
it.
try it for myself.
Oh, okay.
That's how adult learners retain information.
Oh.
So that's why I set the book up like that.
Okay.
Is I'm gonna tell you about this thing. I'm gonna tell you about gratitude.
Yep.
I'm gonna show you how it works. I'm gonna show you the research behind it, and then I want you to try it for yourself.
Okay.
And that's why I structured the book the way I did, because it helps you to retain the information better.
Oh, I love this.
She's smart a little bit.
You know, a little bit. You know, I love this because it's like as you're like reworking your habits. Another thing I really loved throughout the book is like I feel like you offer us a lot of grace into it. Like you're like, okay, if you don't get this the first time, it's okay.
It's okay. Yeah.
And you also reserve judgment. Like even when you're telling us about different situations, whether it's from your personal life or things you've observed, it doesn't feel like you are judging the reader. It feels like you're inviting them in.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is a very unique skill where sometimes these books, when it comes to self-help, can feel a little condescending, or it's like, if you don't do it this way, it's not the right way. How did you find that balance in writing it so it felt more inviting and not like someone scolding you?
I just modeled it based on how I show up for people in general. Like I wanted to feel like a conversation. And in my coaching style, that's how I coach. I want you to feel like you are having a conversation with a friend that's just helping you through change.
Yeah.
And you can't help people by hollering at people. I don't receive information like that, so why would the readers receive information like that? And so my goal was not to create a book where you feel like I'm talking at you or above you. I wanted people to feel like I'm on this journey with you. Right. And I'm gonna hold your hand. I might give you a little light tap, but just know I'm doing it with love. So I wanted people to feel loved and supported throughout the whole book, which is why I chose the words that I chose intentionally, which is why I said, you know what, if this chapter was kind of hard for you, go put the book down and treat yourself to something, you know? So it's all about making sure people feel supported throughout the book.
And you've done a wonderful job with that. I also, to go back to like the references, you open up the book with a quote from Janelle Monáe, which I love. Yes. So
I love Janelle Monáe, by the way.
Shout out, Janelle, if you're watching. Hey, you know.
Hey, girl, call me.
Yes, call.
Call me. Buy a book.
Buy a book, right. Can you talk about why you picked that particular quote or song lyric, and then also the playlist, right? I do this with every book. Like I love to see how people's like musical taste lines up with their writing style or just like who they are. So, you know, tell us a little bit more about the Evolving While Black playlist, too.
The playlist. So can we read the quote?
Yeah, go for it.
So the quote I chose, I was watching an interview with Janelle Monáe and Angie Martinez. I'm such a music head. Like I love music. All my friends know I'm always creating playlists. Y'all know
DJ Key.
Listen, I use Tidal though, so I got to get on Spotify. But the quote says, love yourself at and in every evolution. Be proud of yourself for having the bravery to grow. Be proud of yourself for finding tools and figuring this shit out. Give yourself permission to evolve as often as you need to, and any way that you need to without explanation. I chose that because I think a lot of us get caught up in being a version of ourselves that is pleasing and palatable to people, that we don't allow ourselves to grow, especially Black women. And I was like, this quote is just sums up the book. I want you to give yourself permission to be human. I want you to give yourself permission to grow and get off the damn stage, because we're not performing no more for anybody.
Say it again.
We're not performing for anybody. We taking off the mask. We closing the gap between who we are at work and who we are at home. Yeah. And I want you to feel good about that. And that's why I chose that quote.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. And I feel like I need to figure out when this interview was, because I feel like Janelle Monáe is the prime example.
She's the prime example of like evolving while Black and being free as hell about it. Right. And so I support her freedom. Yes. I support her freedom.
So stunning. I love.
Oh, and the playlist. Her. So the playlist, if you get the book, when you purchase the book, the physical copy, you'll notice that there's a QR code where you can scan it and get the Evolving While Black playlist. Music is my love language. I love sending music. I love receiving music, and it's just been with me throughout my entire life. Even in the book, when I'm talking about growing up, music was a part of my childhood. It's literally. I talk about this in the book. Just a little pit stop here for a second. But like, I really have an infatuation with hip hop, especially 90s hip hop. And I tell people that yes, hip hop is problematic. We know that there's a lot of misogyny in it, but there's also some good stuff for people like me who grew up without a lot of role models. So I tell people like hip hop was my first exposure to having like a growth mindset and a can-do attitude, feeling like I could reach, feeling like the sky's the limit. You know,
sky's the limit.
Ain't
What you want.
You know, and then remix, it was all a dream. Like literally, hip hop was like my introduction to believing in myself. Yes. And so that's why music, I still lean into music because literally it can change your entire mood in 3 minutes. Yep. And so I wanted to make sure that was another way to show my love to people who read the book, is because these songs that I chose do something for me. So I hope it do something for you too when you scan the book and the physical copy of the book that you purchase.
Yes. Purchase the book. So necessary. Yep. And that's also how I can tell, like, I really love something. Like, if I hear a song or I read something and I get that, like, goosebump chill. Yeah. You know, like, your body can't even help it. Like, when you have, like, this creative response of just, like, oh, this is so good that, like, my soul feels it. I'm
Absolutely.
like, yeah, that's it. And you can tell that you're having those experiences throughout the book. Like, when you talk about performing on stage or being with your family or just, like, all these moments, they really endear us to you as we're reading it. So thank you for just being so vulnerable and being able to use your voice in a way that empowers other people.
Yeah.
Is there like one thing, because I feel like there's so many takeaways in this book, but if you could, you know, say one thing that you hope that like readers take away, what would that be?
My hope for people that read the book is that you read this book and it allows you to create a version of your life that allows you to feel authentically happy and free.
Yes.
And freedom looks like whatever that thing is that you've been searching for or needing that you haven't had yet. And I hope that this book allows you to release anything or any person that is blocking your joy, that is blocking your peace of mind. Yes. And that's really like stopping you from being the most fully expressed version of yourself. I had to let a lot of people off at the bus stop on the way here.
Wow.
You know, like there's a lot of people I had to release. Yeah. There's a lot of belief systems I had to release. So my hope for you is that by reading this book, you get to do some of that too. You got to drop some stuff off to really live a life that you can love and that you can be proud of.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yes. Let's clap for that. I know there are some wonderful friends and family in the audience that also have questions for you. So we're going to take a moment. So if folks have any questions or if you just want to give praise, we'll have an opportunity to do so now. So we have someone with a mic that will walk around. You can feel free to raise your hand.
Any thoughts or anything?
Yes.
Hey, Zach.
I hope that you are very, very proud. Oftentimes...
Don't make me cry now, but go ahead.
Oftentimes as creatives, we are self-absorbed in our heads. And when we complete stuff and people tell us like, man, you did a good job, sometimes it's like blah, 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 because you're looking for a different result. But I just want you to realize that you have done something incredible.
Yes.
Thank you.
And
I am a crybaby. Thank you, Zach. Thank you.
My question is, how'd you get so creative in formatting the book?
Oh, yeah, that's a great question.
How did
you all called us, that's like next level. So how did you get so creative in formatting?
I think, so my background, a lot of people don't know, like my background is in tech, consulting is in tech. So I've just live in a world where early adoption helps things fly. And so I've always been in tech. I'm always one of those people, I'm just going to experiment, test this out and see what I learn from it and then go from there. So literally it's just me having an early adopter mindset. So I didn't know how it was going to work. I was like, we just going to see. And I literally be like, let me see as a philosophy, a way of life, you know? So I wanted to try it out, see how people would like it. And that was it. I didn't think too much about it. I'm literally like, life is an experiment. Yeah. It's a lab. Try it out, see what works, see if people like it. And if they don't like it, ask them what they don't like about it. Right. And then try something new. Yep. Thank you.
Hey, girl, hey.
Hey, girl.
Okay, I'm curious about, like, in the beginning of the conversation, you talked about expansion.
Yep.
Do you remember, like, a person or an interaction or an event you went to that kind of was, like, your aha moment in, even being an entrepreneur or just anything that just helped you expand that was just, like, a moment that you can remember?
I have a very early memory about expansion, and I was in the third grade, and I had this teacher. Her name was Miss Williams, and I was in the class with my best friend Tamika. Some of y'all know her, and we used to always get in trouble for talking, and I like to talk a lot too, and so. It wasn't a problem. The thing was, I would always finish my classwork really, really early and just want to talk to everybody because I'm done. What y'all doing? Because I done finished like 20 minutes ago. And so Miss Williams, instead of seeing it as an issue, as a problem child, seeing me as a problem child, she recognized that I was gifted in a way, especially in science and math. And then she had a conversation with my mother about placing me in advanced classes because clearly I was going to be done my work a lot. And she didn't need me disrupting her class. She wanted me to move on. And so what that taught me was that sometimes people can see in you things that you can't see in yourself. And sometimes what you see that is a problem or a challenge is actually a gift. And so now when I approach my life, even as an adult, I'm like, is this really a challenge or a problem, or is it a gift in disguise? Like, what is it that I'm learning about this thing or this thing that I do? Or like the fact that I like to cry. It just means I'm vulnerable. I like to be connected with people. It's like thinking about life in that way and allowing myself to do that for other people. So I pay really a close attention to other people. I like to, yep. So I'm always like looking at people and looking at like, what does it really mean, this thing they're doing? Like, is it a problem or is it something that they need from me or they need from somewhere else? And I make sure I do that.
That is so beautiful. I also like to cry, and this is good reframing for me because I cry all the time.
Yeah,
This
it's
was
like,
good.
yeah, it's a cleansing opportunity.
All right, don't worry. I'm not going to make fun of you right now for crying.
All right.
But first off, I want to say congratulations on
Thank you.
making it out. We come from similar places, so I know what it means to get to this place right here. But also, I want to say thank you for giving back to people like me who are on their way up and need these tools because I don't physically know people like this. So for me to be able to read this and hear you talk, it means a lot. So my question for you is, when you think about the person that comes from where we're from that doesn't make it out and doesn't get to go to DC, right? Or you think about the man that looks at this and says, well, she's speaking to women, this don't apply to me. Why is this book for everybody?
That's good. That's a good question. So a lot of the stories that I tell are from the perspective of a Black woman because I'm a Black woman. But everything that I share in the book is a universal truth. It doesn't have gender. There's no gender for changing your mindset from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. And everybody can relate to that. So I think that, and that's what, even when I tell people, I'm like, yes, I focus on women because marketing-wise, they tell you need a niche audience, right? However, men, this book is for you too. There are definitely tools that are not gender specific that you could take today and shift something in your life. It just so happens that is my perspective and my story. And I think that the vulnerability will actually make people feel closer to me, whether you're a man or a woman or something in between, right? Like, I think that vulnerability creates connection to any human being, but the gems and the practices are for everybody. So.
Hi.
Hey, girl.
Hey. So my question, two questions. One, what was your favorite part of this entire book writing process? And second, what song for you is going to define this moment? Music always defines, you remember. So what is going to be that song for you that defines this moment?
So what was my favorite part of the process? And what song defines this moment?
This moment, yeah. This right now.
Ooh. Okay, let me go to the first one first. Let me think about the song. Okay. My favorite part of the process, for anybody that's wrote a book, y'all know it's a lot that happens in this process. But my favorite part, I think, was I was gearing towards writing the last couple chapters, and I felt stuck. Like, I was like, I ain't got nothing left in this book. How many more pages I got to do? Yeah, I know. Deisha gets it. I'm just like, gosh, how many more pages I got to meet? Good Lord. And so I made a decision. I said, I'm stuck because I've been sitting in Bowie all of these years trying to write this book, and I need to go back to the source. And so I booked an Airbnb in Greenville, South Carolina. Wow. I did not see my family for a whole week. Wow. Boundaries. And I just sat in this beautiful loft and finished my book. Wow. And it was so rewarding because, one, I'm like, I grew up here and I grew up on the other side of town. So life was a lot different 20 years ago. And then to be able to do that for myself was a blessing, and to just be able to go home and feel the love and Southern comfort and eat some good old food while I write was amazing. And it just felt good to do. And I was like, dang, I should have did this more often, and I could write it off, so that was my favorite part. A song that would describe this moment. She said, "It's a nuck if you buck." Nuck if you buck, boy. No, no, it's not nuck if you buck. Shout out to my Saras. But you know what song I've been playing all week? And it's an old song. I've been playing this all week. And it's a song that used to inspire me when I was still trying to figure out life. Is "Closer" by Guapale. And I've been playing it on repeat all week, just closer to my dreams. I'm going higher, closer to my dreams. Sometimes I feel like, she says sometimes I feel like I'm not gonna make it, whatever it is, but I'm going higher and higher, closer to my dreams. So
And higher.
And going higher. Hey, I'm more of an alto on that side, but yeah, it's Guapale, "Closer." That's the song I would choose.
I literally, when you said that, I was like, I wonder if she's going to say that, because I highlighted it in your...
Because I shout out Guapale in the book. I'm telling you, it's a lot of music references in that book. It's my life. But yeah, shout out to Guapale.
Oh, that's so good. Oh, I love that. Yeah, I think that's a perfect song for this moment for you, because you're continuing to grow and evolve and just get closer to your dreams. And I know you just finished this book, and I hate when people ask, what's next? What's your next book? When you literally just dropped this one. But I am curious, what's on the horizon for you? What are you dreaming about? How can we help you and support you in the next iteration of your career, whether it's writing, facilitating? Are there more pop-up happy hours happening?
Now that you mention it.
Yes.
The Happy Pop-Up is coming back to DC. Woo!
Here we go.
And we're calling it the Happy Pop-Up Homecoming. So if you would like to continue to support, remember this book is the pop-up in your pocket. Yes. But if you want to go to a physical Happy Pop-Up, it will be coming back to DC June 8th.
Okay.
At a place where it started, at Half Smoke. So if you've been to the old one, y'all been there? Yep, Half Smoke, you was there. So come out to Half Smoke June 8th at 4 p.m. It's going to be in the afternoon, and we're going to do the Happy Pop-Up Homecoming. And y'all know how we do. We going to laugh. COVID is kind of over. We're going to hug you. We're going to have a gratitude wall. We're going to dance. And y'all going to teach me the Tamia dance once and for all, because I still don't know it. You going to teach me? No? Okay, Kadeem. But yeah, we're just going to have a good time in the name of flourishing. That's it. So come to the pop-up June 8th.
Yes,
and it's free, so just come on out.
And how can people find you on social?
Sure.
Yes.
I am Chianti Lomax everywhere on social media, ChiantiLomax. Connect with me so we can keep the conversation going. Yes. Thank y'all for being here. I love y'all. Woo! Oh, no, she got a question.
Yeah, we have one more question.
I just want to, I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Hi, Glory. But I do want to say how people can at least tweet tonight post it, all
Please.
the things tonight. Is a hashtag Evolving While Black?
Yep, Evolving
Got
While
you.
Black.
Okay, so it's just very
She's
important.
a fellow author, so she's telling y'all what to do.
I'm
Please.
so traumatized. That's why I look like this. But just remember to do that. Review the book, all of the things
Yes,
for Black
please.
women authors that are very much needed. So please do that for
Yes,
this book, everyone, as well.
absolutely.
And before we go, when I talk about community, Deisha is a new member of my community, and she has been such a force to watch, and she's inspired a lot of how I'm going about my book promotion process. So Deisha, thank you for being a part of my community. Community is important, yeah, because she's been.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Jesus.
Yes. And with that, please buy your book today at Politics and Prose. You will be signing books.
I will be signing books for a little bit.
Yes, we're gonna do all the things. We're gonna continue keep this party going. Maybe we'll throw on the playlist.
I know.
I can do some acoustic guapale. Maybe not.
Can we throw on the playlist?
We can do whatever you want.
I need a vibe. I like it.
We got it.
Listen.
We're just
Come
so
on,
proud
DJ.
of you. We're so proud of you.
Thank you so much.
So thank you everyone for being here. Let's give one more round of applause. Chianti, you did it. You did it.
I wrote a book, y'all.
You did it.